you straight.
I do, I understand
Yeah.
everything you said, Mr. Chair. That wasn't my question. My question was, is there any way that we can set a rate that will give the person who pays on time a discount and still raise enough money to cover our costs? It would just,
Yes, we could say, let's go up 8% and give a 4% discount, then we're guaranteed we get a 4% increase in the rates, because everybody that's paying.
but everyone would be going up to 4% anyways.
Right.
Oh, but
It's the same as the.
But in
4%.
order to entice people, you have to go to double-digit discounts. So if you raise it 14%, you give a 10% discount, you're gonna raise your 4% guaranteed.
Right.
You're gonna incent more people to pay on time. I mean, that's really, the 10 and 12% discount is something to get people's attention
Yeah,
and say it's really worth it.
I'll just say this, the town I lived in did give a discount on their water. It was the one bill I actually liked to pay, because I'm saving myself 10% here right off the top. I mean, I knew where it was coming from, and I knew the shell game they were playing, but hey, it made me feel good to pay that.
Well, because you know if you paid it late, you're gonna pay the higher rate too, so, you know. So I mean, you can raise it 14% with a 10% discount, you're guaranteed your 4%, and you get more people to pay on time, which enhances your cash flow.
The television phones will be ringing off the hook, because they'll only read one thing.
But as
Town
Mark said, when
raises
you
water
finally open
rates
the
by
bill,
14%.
you see a big
That's
fat
not the way it'll
bill.
be put in the transcript, though.
We might have to help wanted.
No, but going 8% and 4% discount doesn't get the people's attention. I don't think, just 4%.
I would think so. As Mark says, anytime you can get a discount, you do it.
Yeah, most of the people that are delinquent are big users too, correct?
I would say they're bigger than average users,
Yeah.
definitely.
You know, so there's a good piece of change hanging out there every year. Of course, as we collect the delinquencies,
It's coming in.
it's coming in anyway.
What do we charge for a late payment? I don't know the answer to that. Greg, do you know, is there you know what the penalty is?
Maybe not heavy enough.
Isn't it just interest?
Maybe a better
Well,
solution.
I think we have an answer in the audience.
Immediately affects a 14% interest rate after the due date. So at day 31, it starts tacking on 14% interest. Then there are, if it goes to the whole lien process, there's demand charges and
Right.
collection charges that get added on top of that. But there's still a significant number. I think we were at $162,000 from FY09 got liened in FY10, so that's a good number.
You just answered my question. I thought there was a hole in the, is that what it is? Is that the amount?
That was the amount, yeah. The reason I didn't show it on that page too was that some of that money has been collected in that top line that shows collections. It's hard to separate out,
Right.
but that was the number.
Well, why not do an 8% increase with a 4% discount? If we're gonna do the 4% anyway, if that's the case, then why not do 8% with a 4% discount? And those who are tardy with their payments will hopefully not be tardy, and we'll have consistency.
Well, no, in fact, we head down the path of inconsistency, because we don't do that for our other bills.
I mean,
To me, we eventually get the money. This is not the time to, say we've raised the water rate by 12%, even though you get a discount, or 8% and you get a discount. And then we have to go out and spend money to rewrite the billing program. And I don't see the value to it, I really don't. Mr. Bino?
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Chair. I wouldn't want to go 8% to give a 4% discount to bring it down to 4. I'd be more inclined to just go with the 4% increase than to change it around like that, personally.
Do we have a consensus, one way or another?
I would go with the 4%. I think that's the thing to do.
Mr. Larry?
Yeah, I stated that a few minutes ago.
Yeah, okay, so I'll entertain a motion. Set the water rate,
Yeah.
now we'll go into the capital.
Well, then what is the rate? Then it's just at 4%? as- Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's option one.
Mr. Chairman, I move the water rates for 2011 will be set at first tier, $6.03 per 1,000 gallons, up to 110 gallons per day. Second tier, $8.84 per 1,000 gallons, from 110 gallons per day, and up to 440 gallons per day. Third tier, $12.06 per 1,000 gallons, over 440 gallons per day.
Motion by Mr. Yule,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion?
Yes, if I could,
Mr.
I'd just
Vino.
brief you. I'm gonna go along with this motion. I would've liked to have seen option two, but it doesn't seem like it's fiscally possible to do it, so I will be supporting this. But I would've liked to have done number two at the discount.
I'll add on to that, I'm going to vote no, because I would like to give the community the option of receiving a discount, given the amount of money we have in a settlement fund. I would have preferred option two, at least for 1 year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Capital.
Capital, there was a page in your packet, it's a relatively simple, capital expenditures plan for this year. I will tell you, our debt service is on the way down, it has been for a number of years, and, well, 2 or 3 years out, we're gonna see about a $90,000 drop in our, capital expenditures, or our debt service for that particular year. We are planning to do some major upgrades to the system at about that time, we're trying to kind of mesh our decrease in the debt service with our increase in capital expenses, so that we're not having a huge hit on the rates. But the two little projects we're looking at this year, one is energy efficiency improvements. It deals with lighting and air handling at the water treatment plants, but on a more larger scale, it deals with our pumping systems. We pay a lot of money to pump the water from the ground. We're pulling water, hundreds of gallons a minute, and pumping it up. Basically pump it at high pressure, high enough to top off the water tanks when we need to. So the way pumps get selected is, pumps have what's called a design curve, where you've got the number of gallons a minute up one side of the curve, and then, the pressure that you can pump it at on the other side of the curve. They generally pick one point on that curve, and it's semi-efficient, maybe 80% efficient to pump at that rate. We never pump at that high efficiency rate. And frequently what happens is our wells tail off in their ability to provide water, so that we're not pumping air into the system. We partially close a valve after the pumps in order to throttle back on how much water we're producing. Well, what does that do to our efficiency? Number one, it pushes us way away from the high efficiency point on the curve. And number two, we're basically paying energy costs to pump through a partially closed valve, if you understand what I'm saying. You're basically taking a full pipe and cutting the volume in half, and there's friction and losses going through that. Kind of more efficient method that's been used for a number of years now is to provide variable speeds to your pump, so that you can actually get your pump to put out what you're looking for without having to provide that loss in efficiency, and also operate closer to that high efficiency point on its curve. So that's kind of where the majority of the money under this request would go. We have 4 different well fields in town with a number of different pumps. I think we have 7 different pumps altogether. So looking at making those more efficient and saving us on energy costs in the long run. The second project described is a new requirement coming down from the state, and it may actually be coming down from the EPA above them, where they're looking to better regulate the application of chemicals at all water treatment facilities. The 3 of the chemicals specified in the requirement are chlorine that we add, potassium hydroxide that we add, and sodium fluoride that we add. So we're kind of hit on all the chemicals that we add to the water for it's improved monitoring, alarm systems, online measurements, so that you're measuring the actual concentration of the chemicals in the water all the time. A couple of the chemicals we do monitor for now, so we're not overly being hit, but the fluoride we don't monitor, and then at one of our facilities we don't monitor for the other 2 chemicals as well. So that's what the second project
Mark, you mentioned that our water bonds are coming down. Do you know about how much in payments they've dropped off for this year?
From FY '11 to FY '12, it's decreasing about $50,000 in that one fiscal year in what we're paying out, and then it's $10,000 a year after that, and then it's $90,000 a
So
year.
it's more than enough to cover the bonding of these two articles.
That's correct.
And on the, do you know what the time that we can bond these two items are? The motors, what's the life, tip of the life?
I don't, I mean, I would imagine it'd be
I
probably-
think I'm more pointing to Greg.
10 years.
10 years? And same, on the chemical processing, the same thing?
It will probably be
10 years, okay.
What other projects do you anticipate coming online, though, in the not too distant?
Probably the largest one that we're looking at right now is our Central Street Pumping Station, which is opposite the Benevento Little League Fields. It's that's our original well field from 1954. We're actually using, a lot of the 1954 piping, not a very efficient way to deliver water. What we have out there are 15 little two-inch wells that go down into the the water table. And we draw from that with it's an antiquated vacuum system. It creates a vacuum in the well field and pulls water to one main well that we then pump. Not very efficient, not very reliable in terms of being able to deliver water. What we're looking to do is actually replace the small wells with 8-inch wells, which are a larger, more common well today, a lot more efficient, and basically reconstruct that pumping station, either gut it entirely. It's still got some electrical systems from the 1950s in there, so we're either looking at cutting that entirely, or the second option is to actually bring in like a precast building and put it elsewhere on that site. One of the problems with the Central Street Pumping Station is what happened today. We had to go down and put plywood in front of the door, and then put sand in front of the plywood, because the water actually comes up on that building to the point, it would enter through the door and through the vent systems on the side of the building. We do own sufficient land there that we could actually put a building that would sit up probably 3 or 4 feet higher than where that building is. That's happened in the 15 years I've been here. I think this is the fifth time that that's happened. And what happens when the well field there also goes underwater? We're not a surface water treatment facility, so what we do is we go in and we shut off the wells when it gets flooded at that time as well. So what we're looking to do is relocate the wells and the building to a higher part of that ground and make it a more efficient pumping system. That's kind of the biggest thing that's out there. I mean, we've done the lakeside, we've redone that treatment plant. That's gonna need to be redone in another 10 or 15 years. West Village is, if you can believe it, it's been online for 10 or 11 years now. So that's our new treatment plant. I know some of you were on the board with the construction hassles we went through with that facility. In terms of the the storage tanks are in relatively good shape. We do have some money for doing distribution system improvements, and we will probably next year come back for an additional chunk of money for that. Some of our piping, our valves, and our hydrants are, they're getting up there in age. So we'll be looking to get out there, and that's one that's probably never gonna go away. We're always gonna need to do improvements to the distribution system.
What's the best estimate on the Central Street
I'll
location?
have to get back to you with a number on that. I'm not sure off the
But
top of my head.
pretty big.
It will be a big number, because you're talking building, electrical piping,
Yeah.
all the disciplines.
Yeah.
A good reason to maintain the stabilization fund.
Right, it's,
So, these will go on to, the intent is to put this on the April town meeting capital, in the capital
Yeah, I don't
article.
know, Is April or June is it being considered? I'm not
Well,
sure.
it's June, yeah. Greg?
June it is. And it will be put on June's warrant with the capital items.
And so, do we need a motion to approve this at this point, or are we gonna wait until we put the entire capital
I would
article
suggest we
together?
wait until the entire capital plan is put together.
Well, let me just make sure the board is all in support of this at this point.
yeah, I'm